In my Giratina origin form content, I talked about how ridiculously tanky Snorlax is. However, I didn't really give you guys any indication on which level you should stop powering Snorlax up. Here on this graph, I'm showing it at level 40, and you can see that its total damage output is pretty insane, despite its DPS being pretty low. What that suggests is that Snorlax is lasting for a very long time in battle. In fact, on average of all of Giratina origin form's movesets, it's lasting about 55 seconds, where Rayquaza, on the other hand, is lasting about 20 to 25 seconds on average when at level 40. If you go through the guide on Game Press, you'll see that I have a Breakpoint Bulkpoint table, but the only breakpoint I really list for Snorlax is 28.5. And while obviously Snorlax is super tanky, that 28.5 isn't making use of the full extent of Snorlax's tanking potential. So how do we know where to stop with our Snorlaxes? Where do we get the most benefit from the tankiness? Well, you can use the Bulkpoint calculator. So if you check the Bulkpoint calculator on Game Press, you just put in Snorlax, put in whatever IVs you have. Mine's going to be the most perfect Snorlax. And then you look at Giratina origin form. And starting out, you can check out the Dragon Tail Dragon Pulse moveset. And oh wow, pretty dang tanky, right? So as far as predicting charge moves go from the raid boss, what I usually give you guys is about 3 to 4 to 7 to 8 for the key numbers that you're looking for. And well, the 7 to 8 isn't really working out too well here. And then on top of that, this is a multi-bar charge move, not a single bar charge move, so even if Snorlax wasn't tanking things this well, this would still be unreliable. What's even worse is if you check out Shadow Ball or Ominous Wind. For shock factor, let's go with Dragon Tail and Ominous Wind. Clearly, 21 fast moves, so 21 Dragon Tails to survive that and 1 Ominous Wind. Well, obviously that's not going to be helping us out here. It's a 3-bar charge move, it's going to be whipping it out all the time. Well, how do we know where to cut off for Snorlax? Because obviously this breakpoint calculator isn't helping us out at all, right? Well, you can use Don's spreadsheet. So if you're not familiar with Don151, he's part of the Game Press crew, and he has a couple tools of his own up his sleeve here, right? So we've got his Breakpoint and Bulkpoint tool. So here you can see he has a Breakpoint table, just like the one on Game Press, but you'll notice that his Bulkpoint calculator is a little bit different. It's not as specific, it doesn't like tell you precisely what's going on, but if you already know what's going on with Bulkpoints, well, it is gives you a little bit more information here, right? So you can see that it's got the level, and then these are the numbers of fast moves after the charge moves, so that's the non-bolded numbers, and the bolded numbers are the amount of charge moves. This is view only. So guys, if you want to manipulate the table here, you'll have to go to File, and you will have to make a copy of this. So it's your own personal Breakpoint Bulkpoint tool. Bam. So you gotta do that first. Alright, so you can go here, choose your attacker, and we're gonna choose Snorlax. Obviously your fast move is gonna be Lick, but we're looking at bulk points here, not break points. So this whole table, not really our concern, right? But you can see that it does agree with Game Press, 28.5 for the break point. What we're concerned about here is the bulk point. Yeah, so we're looking at Giratina-O with Shadow Ball. And you can see here that at level 40, you can survive 5 Shadow Balls and 9 Dragon Tails and still be kicking. Well, actually, you'd have like 1 more damage left and then you'd faint after that. So how do we best utilize this information to make our Snorlaxes tanky? So before a raid boss does a charge move, if it has enough energy to do a charge move, it basically does a coin flip, a 50% chance to do the charge move or to do another fast move. Because of this, a raid boss can't do back-to-back single bar charge moves because at the time of doing the coin flip, it will have 0 energy if it's already, using the charge move. So uses charge move, no energy for the coin flip, which means it absolutely cannot do a charge move, which means there's going to be at least 2 turns of lag, and because it's a coin flip, ends up being like 3. So roughly 3 to 4 fast moves per single bar charge move. So when you're trying to figure out the amount of fast moves per charge move on multi-bar charge moves, it would be even because you have a 50% chance of doing either. So when it comes to this, Snorlax is going to very likely tank more charge moves than what's presented here. So how do we find out what level are these significant breakpoints at? Because clearly, 5 for 8, 5 for 7, 5 charge moves per 7 fast moves, that could be useful if the raid boss does more fast moves than expected, but we're looking for the average here, right? Fortunately, you can just add in number 6 on your own, and then copy this whole line here. I'm pretty sure you only have to copy the top number, but let's just be safe here, right? And you just paste it, and then bam. Now we're 6 to 7. So then at level 39, assuming perfect IVs, it looks like that is the true average amount of Dragon Tails per Shadow Balls that your Snorlax would be able to tank, which could be pretty useful if you're trying to get the optimal amount of tankiness out of your Snorlax. Clearly, 36.5 could be a nice little kind of budget zone because, I mean, 5, maybe it used more charge moves than expected. Well, then bam. Then that would work out for you for your optimal tankiness. But this is Shadow Ball. What if we want to do this with Ominous Wind? Change Shadow Ball here to Ominous Wind. And then bam. Up, back to the drawing board. Looks like our maximum tank ability here is 6 Ominous Winds for 14. Nah, man, we need to get more specific. We need the true average, right? So copy and paste again. All right, 7 to 13, kind of getting somewhere. All right, so we got 8, 11. Hey, that's giving us a nice level 30.5 cutoff. You could also go to 33.5 if you feel like there's going to be more fast moves than charge moves. I think 9 might be where we want. I think 9's a good cutoff, but just for curiosity's sake, let's see if 10 actually gives us 10. Nah, it doesn't. Okay, so it appears that if you really want to optimize your tanky breakpoint for Snorlax here, you could cut off at level 37 or at level 35. And that way you will, for the most part, maximize the average amount of charge moves and fast moves in terms of Ominous Wind that your Snorlax will be able to survive. Let's go back to Shadow Ball here. I can't remember off the top of my head. What was Shadow Ball? It appears like you got 39. But if you want to kind of ride it a little bit, you want to coast it, you could go with 37. Probably be fine with that too. 37 and 39.5. And then Ominous Wind. For Ominous Wind, we've got 37 or 33. All right. Sorry, I just had to put them out here because I was just getting a little bit too in my own head here. So it looks like 37 is kind of like the Omni point as far as the tankability goes, but 33 is a pretty good budget cutoff if you're not looking to roll too deep here. All right, so we got the ghost type moves out of the way, which are a little bit more complicated, but let's dial it back and see what Dragon Pulse is looking like. Dragon Pulse, a little bit more straightforward. We got 37 once again and 35. So we got 35 and 37. 37 is the most optimal defensive breakpoint, bulk point, if you will, for Snorlax here on average for the Giratina origin form raid. Now, of course, this level 37 bulk point does alter if you don't have perfect defense and HP IVs, so if you are lacking in either category, you'll probably have to power up your Snorlax even more. But this does bode well for imperfect IV Snorlaxes that are maxed out because you'll probably clear the bulk point no trouble at all for the level 37 bulk point. Level 37 for the perfect one, a level higher than that for the ones that are imperfect. So these are the bulk points in relationship to Dragon Tail. What if we want to go down the rabbit hole even further and look at the Shadow Claw? Well, we can do that. We do have the power, although I think it is a little crazy, right? So, oh wow. So clearly we're getting a little bit off the handle here. So if we go with Shadow Claw and Ominous Wind here, you can see that things get to be a little crazy. I mean, we're tanking 10 Ominous Winds and 37 Shadow Claws, which is a little unrealistic. So let's go with like 11, 12. We're going to run out of room here eventually. So it looks like for this, the magic numbers are level 36 or level 37.5 if you want to go to the next level. Or if you want to go even further beyond, I guess level 39, also good too. But yeah, 36, 39, 37.5. So got 37, 37, 37, 37.5. I guess if you really do want to take yourself to the next level, you could give your perfect Snorlax another power up. But you know, you are meeting the low end of the average at level 36 already, so that might not be necessary if you're trying to be ultra tanky on a budget here. Let's check out Shadow Ball. Wow, it's pretty narrow, but Shadow Ball is really strong. It's going to be a lot of the charge move damage there. So there really aren't set guidelines for this tankiness. I mean, we're already going to be clearing the level 35 point, and I think the level 33 that we already have as kind of like minimums. So I guess if your concerns are Shadow Claw with Shadow Ball and not the other charge moves presented here, I guess you could go with level 32. So you're gonna be hitting at the level 33 anyways. So I guess the Shadow Claw variants really aren't worth worrying about because you're gonna be more than hitting them with the Dragon Tail breakpoints already. Bulk points. Correct myself there. So if you're wondering how to get the optimal amount of tankiness out of your Snorlax to be at this level of Snorlax performance featured down here like on the graph, the same as a level 40 Snorlax. Well, level 37 is probably what you're looking at, assuming that you have perfect defense IVs going on there and HP IV. Now, if you are lacking in either category, it'll probably take a couple more power-ups to get to that level. But if you want to find out for yourself, well, then make sure to make a copy of Don's Breakpoint Bulkpoint tool here. There are fields for IVs. Where are they hiding? Yeah, HP and defense IV, bam, bam. So alter that as needed, and there you go. Now, there are other cool uses for Don's Breakpoint Bulkpoint spreadsheet here that you could also use if you are interested. For example, if you go to Pokemon stats, you could add in Pokemon that have not been released yet. If there's a raid boss update and Game Press is too slow to update their Breakpoint Bulkpoint calculators, well, then you can add in the stats yourself here as well. Any new fast moves or new charge moves, you can add them in yourselves. And while this does look very technical and everything like that, if you just copy paste stuff and change the numbers as needed, you'll find that it works out pretty quickly, pretty easily. For example, one thing that Game Press can't do for you, hidden power breakpoints. So yeah, let's go with Togekiss. And we're using hidden power, well, bam, hidden power really isn't doing a whole heck of a lot of damage here, is it? But if you go to the fast moves and you check out hidden power here, you'll see that it is a normal type attack. Well, if you want to know what hidden power looks like as a dragon type attack, you could just copy the normal there and change it to dragon. And then subsequently, it'll change on this sheet. Now you know what the attack breakpoints are for any hidden power that's super effective onto the Giratina here just by using the spreadsheet and editing the hidden power type. Now, if you don't like editing the hidden power type, you could also go into the fast moves here. You could just copy and paste hidden power and then change the name to like hidden power dragon. So you could go down here and be like hidden power dragon. And then you go back to the breakpoint thing, go here, and then bam, now there's a hidden power dragon. So you could do that for each and every hidden power type if you want to. Or you could just have a floating hidden power type that you could keep editing. I don't know. It's your spreadsheet to do with what you want because it is a copy of Don's spreadsheet. So you can add in whatever hidden power, handle that situation however you want to, right? Yeah. So pretty convenient there. And yeah, as far as new attacks go, manipulating these stats, like if you know what the power of the attack is, what the move duration, damage starts, all that stuff, you can just edit that on here and then it will update on the spreadsheet accordingly. Just be careful with what you edit because it is all pretty permanent here. The only way you can really reset is by going back to the original spreadsheet and recopying it. So that answers the question, how to get the most amount of tankiness out of Snorlax, and now you know how to get sweet hidden power breakpoints for any raid that you want to use. If you got any questions on this content, comment below, let me know what's up, and I'll be happy to help you out. And if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more like it, well then make sure to subscribe to Swag Tips. Swag Tips. I'd also like to give a special shout out to these Patron supporters. If you're not familiar, Ryan Swag is in school and he works, so finding time to edit videos, not so easy. Because of that, he's got a video editor, but video editors cost money. So I got a patron to help me afford that. If you want to help keep the swag train rolling, check out the patron. I also like to give a special shout out to my video editor, Michael. Yeah, recording this video is super sloppy, so thank you for all the extra work I just put onto you by being a stutter master in terms of recording this video. I love you, Michael.